Okay, it's February 12th, 2018, and this is the North Logan Library Board meeting. Okay, let's begin by doing our minutes. We have to approve November's minutes. I know we're very late on that. Did we corrected them last month?
Okay,
Correct?
no, she just actually sent out a revised version with spelling corrections today, just a
Yes.
couple hours ago, but I think that
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Cheryl has some
the one
corrections.
that I wanted
Hi,
to
Kristen.
draw, the one
Okay.
that I wanted to draw your attention to was the sentence that reads, "They have discovered that the taxes have been filed incorrectly for the past 10 years or somewhat longer." It should read, "They have been given the opinion that the taxes may have been filed incorrectly." We don't have documentation that those taxes were filed incorrectly. So we should not.
Which taxes are we talking about?
They're
Friends?
talking about the Friends.
Okay.
And so, but they're putting these in minutes that they're putting out for other people to read.
Yeah, I think that's smart.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. Okay, I would leave out the sentence, "Changes to tax code have not been followed by accountants." That's accusing accountants who claim they did not know about the changes in the law. We don't want to do that. I would leave that sentence out. So
I
anyway.
agree. And I think 10 years is probably inaccurate. Who are we telling this to? I think it's probably more in the course of about 5 years, and it's been, we may not have filed those correctly.
Okay, well, what we're doing in this is you're accusing the city that they are not a legal entity to receive that money. The Friends are doing it correctly, the 30%, what they've done. But you're accusing the city that the city don't have the right to receive the 70%. And if somebody wants to go to the city and show them that they're doing that, but that's not correct.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that.
No,
I'm
what I'm
saying,
saying is I don't want to, to me, it's just let's not put it in the minutes for people to say, if you're okay with that.
totally agree. But I'm saying it's not, we weren't talking about the city doing anything wrong. We're saying
Well, but
that
you don't have to, the city is a legal entity that can receive the 70%, and that relieves the responsibility of the Friends to have to keep track of what the city spends. They're responsible for that.
Yeah, I think we jumped from one thing to another. I think that, I don't have the minutes in front of me, but I think we're talking about the Friends misfiling their tax returns for the last, it's 5 years, and that's just due to changes in law. It's not anything malicious. So I'm with you that I don't think that we should put in there that they've been unlawful, and it's not 10 years, it's 5. So
I do have a question on that. So I met with, I guess my question, are you still trying to change the status of the Friends organization or for tax filing purposes, or are you just letting it? So when I talked to, I don't know, a couple of people with the Thorn Foundation, I went down there.
probably Frank and Ryan.
So they were thinking that, and maybe there's two different things. I don't know if it's the same or different thing. They thought that maybe the Friends wanted to change what their status was because they were not able to file for
501(c).
right.
No, because we'd have charitable status regardless, but it's just a matter of classification. So it's under subpart, it's 509, and it's just, there are 3 different classifications. So we're just doing, what we're trying to do is be in compliance for the last 5 years based on changes in the law, but also we're trying to get functionally integrated status, which is just, it's just essentially jumping through some more hoops, but it's still under that 509.
So, but is the purpose of doing that so that you can receive grants from other places?
Yeah, I think that, without having this stuff out right in front of me, I can't tell you like exactly specifically what that changes, but it's not a significant change. It just makes it so the Friends are more flexible and so that the endowment is in compliance too, like with what kind of monies we can receive and when we have to spend them and all that kind of stuff.
And I mean, I don't claim to be I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the ins and outs of this, but their explanation was that unless you were going to receive significant donations from, and they said it would have to be very significant.
From other sources.
That you are probably best to just stay where you keep the current status that you have, and that any other outside donations that you wanted to solicit? Like if you wanted to do, somebody had mentioned maybe there was a.
Funnel through the
a
Thorn.
Bill Gates, yeah, to funnel it either through that or to just have it donated directly to the city and then
Yes.
earmarked for the Friends.
So-
But they thought that it was probably just needed to stay where it was.
Yeah, and that is what we've agreed to do.
Okay.
So we are staying in that same classification. We're just trying to, so within that classification, we're gonna stay that way. Because there was some talk about going to 501c3, just being a classic nonprofit. No, we're gonna stay in the 509. So we're staying, it's just that it's within those, there are 3 types. So it's 3 subtypes. And so we're just trying to go to functionally integrated. And really all that, the practical application of that is just that we work hand in hand with the library. Just so that it's essentially, we're just making sure that our interests are aligned with the libraries. And it just makes it so that, it just makes it less sticky with people who, like for the Thorn Endowment. I can pull out that information, but that's consistent with what with the conversations that I've had with Frank and Ryan too, is that we stick with it. Because we've had several different opinions from a nonprofit attorney and then from an accountant that specializes in this specific thing. And they gave us different answers. And the attorney told us to do just a classic 501c3. And we were like, I got that information when I was sitting in the room with Frank and Ryan, and we all just kind of talked about it. Frank's a genius with this kind of stuff. And we came to that same conclusion. So we're going to stick with the 509. But we do have to do some things that we haven't to make sure that we're in compliance with the laws that govern the 509 organizations. So
I have a question that's kind of related.
Sure.
That, just for my own education, but how does a regular person off the street just donate money to the library? For example, a few years ago, there was a death in the family, and in lieu of flowers or whatever, they wanted to donate to the library, and so money was gathered and donated to the library, and nothing was ever like acknowledged to the family or anything like that, like, oh, we thank you for your gift, or how does that work? Like if somebody just off the street. No, we're not talking about a significant amount, maybe a couple $100s, you know. But how does that happen if somebody wants to do that? I'm just curious.
I don't think I'm the person to answer
I
that.
just am curious.
We've had that happen, and they will bring in the money to the circulation desk, and then we write it down on our cash flow sheet that we take our fines in. We write it down as a donation, and then it goes up to the city offices and posted to an account up there. And at that time, we usually send a thank you note out to the family and tell them how we're going to spend the money.
Okay.
And I know a couple years ago, I got about $300. They wanted it specifically to go to story time, to purchasing books or puppets or flannel boards or something for story time. And so I was able to purchase a bunch of those little shaker eggs that we sing shake. And I let the family know that that's what I used it for and how much we appreciated it. So
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
I probably just fell through the crack. It was a few years ago,
Yeah.
and who knows what happened. I just
Yeah.
wondered what the normal procedure was.
And it usually comes in right, like when people come in to pay for a fine or to pay for a lost book, they bring the money in and we post it on that cash flow sheet. And
Okay.
then
The only
That's
thing
good
I
to
want
know.
to add to that is if the family wants it to be tax deductible, they need to funnel it through Friends.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I imagine it'd have to be a lot of money, though, in order to make it worth
The tax.
the tax stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your clarifying that for me. I was curious.
Okay, so in regards to November's minutes,
Back to that.
does somebody want to motion that we pass it with those changes that Cheryl brought up?
I make a motion we approve the minutes for November. Is that what you said, November or January? Okay, November.
With the changes.
With the changes, yes.
Okay.
I second it.
Okay, Charlotte, seconded. All right, January's minutes. Did anybody have time to read those?
I sent a couple of comments.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah, you
Okay,
did.
yeah.
I got those, and Flora, did you send me no, somebody else.
I sent you that Judy's name
Yes,
was
yeah,
misspelled.
and so I will make those changes and then send them out again, so.
Okay, so is any other changes that need to be made to January's minutes? Okay, so, somebody want to motion that those are,
I move that we accept the January minutes, or approve.
I'll second it.
Jenny will second that. All right, thank you, the minutes have been approved. As you know, we have hired James Britch for the library director position. We hope he'll start sooner than June 1st, but that's the latest he'll start. He's very excited. We're very excited.
We are so,
So-
the whole staff is excited.
Good.
Did
I was gonna
everybody
ask what the
interview him
reception
but
is.
me?
But me.
Am I the only one that
I
hasn't
didn't.
been?
I did. I wasn't.
That
I
makes
Do
didn't.
you want to just give us a few highlights quickly?
Highlights,
And what's his name?
James
James.
Britch, Britsch.
Okay.
Yeah, highlights.
Very, very qualified.
Yeah, he's
His
been a-
resume is extremely impressive.
He's
And
been a
comes across as a very
director,
dynamic man.
Very, very charismatic,
very personable.
personable.
And where'd he come
Seemed
from?
like he would be,
He's
especially
in
in
New
Mexico,
Mexico.
he'd be competent at
He's originally from
fulfilling the needs, the current needs the library has
And future.
in the future. Yeah, ready to take on this.
Was very
This new
excited about the
project is-
new, yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons we got him is looking forward to the challenge of the new library.
And he's been a director for 5 years in New Mexico, and so he's worked with budgets, he's worked with other entities, government entities, museums, prison system. I mean, he's worked,
How old is this guy?
he's,
He's a little younger than me.
He's young.
He's younger than I am.
yeah.
His oldest child was in middle school,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that kind of gives you a,
Okay.
maybe a ballpark age.
I think
He doesn't have any public
maybe
library
like
experience though, so that will be a new challenge for him.
Well, except that the library that he's in a junior college library, and it's the only library in the town.
They
And
actually do have another library there.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Where's that
Oh,
in New Mexico?
well, the gentleman I talked to in the references, he said that was the only library.
No, they have a big public library there.
Okay.
Isn't it a small town in New Mexico?
It is a small
Hobbs.
town in
It's
Hobbs.
like
Mexico.
50,000, how
Hobbs, New
many?
Mexico.
Like as in Calvin and Hobbes.
It's like the
Hobbes.
size of Logan, is what it is, about the size of Logan, so not super small, but
And
But I
college
think in the
towns,
middle
that
of
kind
nowhere,
thing.
right?
it's in New Mexico, I can look it up.
Yeah, he said,
Over
I
to
just came from
Texas.
Albuquerque before this, so.
the
Isn't it kind of
reference I
over by
talked to
There's not
said
much
it's
outside
100
of
miles
Albuquerque.
from everywhere. 100 miles from Lubbock and 100 miles from somewhere else. It's close to Texas, you know.
Okay, thanks.
All right. I think that's it for my welcome. So let's turn the time over to Lindsay
Sure.
for our Friends report.
So I had met with Alan Luce and the mayor last week, and just to kind of get on the same page, that they told me that you guys had hired a new director, and we've kind of just been waiting on them to give us just a general budget. And Alan gave me at the meeting just a very general budget breakdown of how they're planning on spending the Thorn funds. And then I said, can you give me a little more? And then he gave me the 260-page one.
Yeah.
But what I
A
told
little more is one page, and some people it's 240.
Right. So we may or may not wade through that. But what I told him is we're really anxious to just get that check written. So we bumped our meeting up to later tonight, and we're planning on writing that check ideally at the meeting. So we'll be releasing that $140,000. And then really just the only other thing with that is that as friends, we're really anxious to work directly with James and just get an idea of what his vision is for the library, and then just make our plans based on what he tells us how he wants things to look going forward. Because we're not going to make any plans separate from that, because we want our plans to be his plans. So I'm hoping to meet with him before he starts. If he does in fact start on June 1st, we're hoping to have some sort of even just phone call with him just to get on board with him about how we spend money and all of that. So, and then the only other thing I have to report is that we have an authors and illustrators, February 23rd, and that's Greg Luke.
Oh, that'll be
That's
great.
exciting.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Okay. Any questions for Lindsay? Okay. Cheryl with our budget
Do
report.
you want to stop with those
Pass
ones?
these around.
I hope I
I could go next. I can make some more. I think we've got enough.
Does everybody have one?
Just mostly up to
Okay, and then this is,
right here.
I need to give you also, this is the actual. Take all those and
Okay.
More.
Okay, so what are we looking at here?
Yeah. Okay, you're looking at the actual budget from 2016 and 17.
So tell us which page we want to have.
What's that?
Okay, the one that's stapled is our actual 16-17 budget.
Oh, okay.
So last year's budget,
Yeah. Well,
okay?
this one right here is it has all the columns on it. No, this one, not that one. This one. Okay, this one that has the columns on it has actual, the prior year actual. It's giving you so you can put your budget together for the next year. And it has the budget for that year and how much was spent. It has the actual of the 2017 and 18, and then the current year budget as it stands. So
Okay.
that's what that is for. Is just
Cheryl, I should have asked you for numbers.
What?
I should have asked you for numbers. This is much clearer.
Next time.
Yeah.
So that'll kind of tell you what.
2 pages, I can
That
do
is,
that.
you have one of these, don't you? That I gave you? Yeah, but we can go get another, okay. But anyway, that's just to help you out in putting your budget together. And so, the only thing I'll draw to your attention is, okay, in the special projects, close to the bottom, that says Thorn Special Use. Okay, that is where, in this particular year, that is where there was just a check a bill every month sent to the city that was from a credit cards. So there's about 24,000 in that is that part of the problem that we're dealing with the city. So that's not correct as far as instead of being 80,000, you're doing that down to about 55.
Okay.
Because they have no knowledge of where that money, that was, I guess it says, when you look it up here, it gives you the idea that they had, okay, it simply says Walmart Community Credit Card, Walmart Community Credit Card. And that amounts to about $24,000 in just this year. So you don't want to consider that as part of the Thorn Endowment special, that wouldn't be used in there.
And we can't find receipts or anything.
That's what I was told, that you didn't take that. This is right here.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's, and as far as January is concerned, I picked that up and you have that. We have 46% has been used. If we were going to year to date, we would be up to 58% because that's how many months were in there. That's the second one that is on the wide, this one
Just
right
on the
here.
single sheet.
Yeah, okay, down here at the bottom, you'll see a 58%. If you were right on percentage-wise, it would be 58% having been spent. But, so you're good as far as that's concerned, 4698. I've circled the 82, and we've addressed that before. That's the collections. And so we're going to think about, the board's going to think about maybe transferring some money from one of these other accounts into collections, you know, so that would have more money for collections. But anyway, other than that, the others I looked through, and I talked to Judy about some of them. The one is kind of like the Thorn Endowment special use. There's some figures in there that goes to exactly, let's see. Thorn Endowment went to EBSCO Mobile, and that's a computer type program. And so that's not going to be put in for the next year. She said that would be reallocated to another account. Because normally the Thorn Endowment doesn't, you know, that isn't something that Thorn Endowment does.
Pays for.
Well, it can be. See, that's up to the board and up to the friends. It can be part of that 30% if you chose to choose. But I'm just drawing to your attention. Normally, the Thorn Endowment money in the past, and having attended lots of meetings with Deloy Hansen, is the fact that he loves to have children's programs. He loves to have things that involve a lot of people. He likes, you know, like I've mentioned before, bricks and mortar, you know, things like that he really likes. So, and if you feel okay about it, the friends feel okay about it, the board feels okay about it staying there, then that can stay there.
I'm sorry, I'm this is over my head, I guess. Yeah.
Going.
What are we talking about? Are we talking about money that has in the past?
Here, at the beginning, you have on page 1 that I gave you in this wide sheet.
Yeah.
Go up to the top.
Okay.
And you'll see Thorn Endowment Special Use.
Yeah.
That's where the 30% comes in when we give you the information.
Okay.
Okay, so when that comes down, this figure down here that says Thorn Endowment Special Use, that should coincide with this one up here.
Okay.
And see, you can see by this year over here that didn't take place. They had the Thorn Endowment Special Use came in as 78,000. Well, he used the 80, but anyway. So anyway, whatever you approve, and the board approves it.
Because the friends haven't deposited that money yet.
No, there's nothing come from the fringe yet.
We're talking about the 30%.
30%. That's nothing.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So-
Well, just to clarify, so on this one, on the stapled page, it says that the Thorn Endowment actual budget's 204, prior year budget 204, and then the current year budget 212. What we've talked about is that like the decision that we made as a board and with everyone present was that hereafter will be 200,000 total from the Thorn Endowment. That will be the distribution. So the city's amount will always be 140, and then the Friends' amount will be 30, and the library's direct amount will be $30,000.
I think we should throw it out there. That amount is actually lower than it has been in the past. And I think if this group, the Friends of the Library and this group and the library can get on the same page, I think that number can be increased.
So it can, for sure.
So
In fact,
I
this
think
year,
we need to really just work on
yeah, so it can, for
working
sure.
together. And
So
really-
that was a meeting that was attended by the city and also the library, and it's the board meeting for the endowment. And there was a lot more money available, and we all, as a group, voted to just make that a flat $200,000 for simplicity's sake. And then they told us, there's money in that endowment that's available. What I spoke with the mayor about and Alan is that we're anticipating a big capital expenditure, and so while we have access to that money, we thought it prudent to say, let's grow that money. They had a specific investment that already earmarked for that money that they said was a no-brainer. It was going to be very lucrative, and so we voted to put that money in, and we voted to just keep that at that 200,000 level because when this whole endowment began, they were getting like $40,000, $60,000 a year. And so $200,000, I don't think anyone even contemplated at the beginning of this. I don't know. I've been here for a solid 9 months, but that is the decision that we made. And even the mayor kind of confronted me about that in our meeting. He said, we were expecting $280,000. And I think that, let me be clear about this. That is a decision we made, $200,000 every single year. If there's a need, if there's a specific need that the library has, let's talk about it. That we have access to that money. The Friends are completely willing to access it. We are not hiding money anywhere. Like, that's money that we didn't get, and that's a decision that we made on the advice of Frank and Ryan.
Does that
Lindsay, what was the
no,
check
this
that
makes this
the
contract
Thorn
null and
Foundation
void
sent
then?
Friends recently?
No.
What size was it?
We just have that $200,000.
Okay.
That's how much money we have.
Oh, but
And it's not recent. Go ahead.
This makes this contract null and void then.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't at all.
No, they're just saying they will receive, they're saying the Thorn Endowment will
Only
give,
Oh,
only
really?
give
They
us
give only
200,000.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're not,
70%.
we're not getting any more money than that at all. We're just saying, let's every year have an amount that you can count on. If we have a year where there's a need for more money, and we talked with the mayor about this, but like, about perhaps accessing that money for the new city center and for the library, so I want to reassure you over and over, we are here to help. We're here to facilitate the best library that we can have, and we're here to work with you guys. But it's going to be $200,000.
And in the meantime, the other is growing.
Yeah.
The other's growing. So in like a few years down the road, are you guys planning on reevaluating that and saying like, looking at the library needs and saying like, now that we've grown that money, now it's like 5-10 years down the road, let's reassess and maybe give the library this new set amount
Like make
or
it more.
whatever.
Yeah, I think so. I think it makes sense that
But like in your contract or in your meeting, did you set up, we'll do this for this many years and then reevaluate, or is it just,
No,
we'll do
it's
this indefinitely?
200 indefinitely.
Until more is.
But it might be good to keep that in mind too, because like as we see, like the library's gonna grow and the community center's gonna grow
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
think that's such a big question mark that yes, I think that we should have a built-in checkpoint where we say, but I think that kind of happens naturally every year because there is the endowment board that meets every single year. So that could change every single year. It's subject to change. But I think that what we did is we just went away from that being a variable amount so that the city doesn't one year say, we thought this was going to be $250,000 because it's grown every year, and then it's, the stock market takes a dive and we're at 180, 1 year. I think we're just saying, let's just keep it at that level for ease of planning. And then at any time during the year, if the library said, we really have this need for more books, can we have $80,000? We could do that so fast. It's there, it's liquid. And I think this actually works out better because we have that exact amount. That's what we all count on. And then if there is an extraordinary expense, that is money that we can access very easily. And
Sounds good.
we would
Sounds
try and
wise to me.
facilitate it. So,
Then you know what to plan on.
yeah.
The
So,
only,
but I'm just saying, like, as a city and a library, that's 140. Hereafter, 140. That's what
Yeah.
the city money is going to be. So
so
don't budget for, because the mayor said, we thought it was 280. Where's that $80,000? In fact, where's that $120,000 that we don't have? Is that right? 60 plus 80, 140. And, and I'm just saying that's never been the case. We just have, I think in the past, and I don't know why, but it just seems like there's a disconnect between what happens with the endowment, and it feels like there are meetings that go on with the endowment that don't involve the Friends, and they don't involve, or the Friends, but not the city, and to the extent that we can do it, I'd love to be a united voice in that way, and to just say, because I'm not trying to hide the ball. I don't want to be responsible for that, but I'm just telling you what happened at that open meeting, $200,000 from here on out.
Okay. Carol, are you done with the budget? Okay, wonderful. Judy, with our director's
I'm
report.
just going to keep mine short and sweet. We have had a couple of our staff quit. Bailey Layton has quit. So we moved, instead of hiring, we moved Cameron Carlson up to the circulation desk. And then we hired a couple of new pages, which are Austin Petty and Lauren Karchner. So we hired some new pages, and we're going to start training training them. So also we are moving forward with our Teen Marvel party, and everything's looking good with that. We're starting the beginning of planning our summer reading program, which is going to be fun. We're going to include the whole staff in planning that, and hopefully include our new director as well in all the planning, so he knows what's going on.
When he gets here on June 1st.
That's right, he'll hit town just in time.
Yes, he will, so.
We're also thinking it might be a fun way if he does get here before the summer reading to like introduce him to the public at the
That's a really
kickoff
good idea.
party.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
I thought
he'll
that
be
would
here before the launch party, because that will be after June 1st.
Yeah. So
We'll be launching him.
And I'm hoping he just surprises us and shows up sooner anyway, so.
Is he just trying to sell his house?
Yeah.
Yep,
That's the
that's
thing.
the only hang up.
The only thing that worries me is the problem of selling a home in Hobbs.
Yeah.
Well,
it's-
even if they don't sell, he'll be here
I
June
know.
1st.
I know that's whichever
know,
comes
and
first, I'm
that's-
well aware of that.
That's to get his kids through the school year,
Yeah.
you know. But if they sell sooner, then he'll be here sooner. So,
So that's about all I have. Michelle, did you have something?
Oh, I just wanted to add too, we're really close to getting our 1,000 books before kindergarten
Yeah.
off the ground, and we're at least I am, we're like way excited for that program to be
Yeah.
up and running and stuff. And I think we'll get a big response from the community
It's going to be a
that
great
will
program.
really enjoy the reading and stuff like that.
how much community support do you need? Is there something that the library board or the Friends can help with on that?
For the 1,000 books before kindergarten, I know that we've received some funding from you guys. I don't know exactly which one it came from for the
Friends.
for the little booklets that we're making up, tracking sheets for the moms and the kids to keep track of the books that they read. We also are working on a web platform that they can track the reading online and stuff, and just say like it's called Beanstacks, which is a tracking website, and it integrates nicely. That we are looking into using it for our summer reading, which will be really helpful for the community as well.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, so we're on to policy updates.
Okay.
So we started on the circulation policy.
Well, in October.
In
And we
October.
were going to approve it in November, but that didn't happen, so here's the, you want to take one of those?
Okay.
Okay. The circulation policy, the changes that we have made in this is, if you go down to material circulation, we shortened that up quite a bit. It used to be that they could only take out 20 items at a time. Now it's 100. We eliminated the length of one checkout period will be 21 days. It's whatever the paper size on that. And the DVDs changed from,
I just got one page, am I supposed to have two?
you are.
Oh, I just got one too.
I got 10. Some were stapled, some weren't.
Okay.
Well, they were,
No, they weren't
got the
stapled
web.
at all.
I need a page one, if anyone has an extra page one.
I've
Or
got.
between us, we have a set, so hand me a set, and I'll be okay.
Share for
I
right
think
now.
we have to share.
Yeah,
I think
I
we
guess
ran
we
out.
Okay, we changed the number of DVDs that a person can check out from 2 to 10. And that was all on that page.
Just out of curiosity, why did you want to do 10?
That's what they recommended at the time, just that people, when they come in, sometimes they're leaving on vacation and they want more than 2 DVDs to check out. So
It's
they-
been a really big benefit for the patrons. We've seen an increase in DVD checkouts, and we believe that our collection's big enough now to support that
Okay.
amount of checkouts. And really, we've been doing this policy for
Right.
a
think
while
about a
now
year.
Yeah.
because it's been in process, like it's been in trial, and we haven't seen, like, our shelves aren't bare of DVDs or anything like that. We definitely have enough to support it, and the public really likes it. And also, it was also to help facilitate families, so they didn't have to have multiple cards and keep switching through accounts and keep track of everything.
Two on this one, two on this one.
That
two on
helped
this
a
one.
lot with moms and just
So you
families.
just use one card per family now?
So we recommend to the patrons that they only need one because they can have
So maybe-
100 books and 10 DVDs, and a lot of moms are like, thank you, that is so
Okay.
much easier, that's better for us. But some people will take like, have a couple of cards, and that's okay too, if they want separate accounts too. Some like to give their kids responsibility and say like, okay, you're in charge of this, you know, sort of thing. But
Is it still just 21?
I think that, did you leave the length of the checkout still 21 days? We
Yeah,
left that up to the
for
discretion of the
the-
library.
for the books and like other items like that are 21 days. And then for the movies, we just do a week so that they'll come back and
More reasonable for
a
turnaround.
reasonable turnaround, right?
Okay, and then I never did hear what we wanted on the a patron's card will be automatically blocked when the amount owed exceeds
Right,
$20.
right now it's
20.
set as
It's 1999 is what I wrote in there,
Right,
but then.
right, 1999.
Okay, so that needs to be put in there, that was not put in.
And I have this too with the state parks pass, and there's some,
Oh, yeah.
What is this one?
Right now it's
That's gonna be
19. Well,
We need to
we're
add this
doing
to it.
it
Yeah.
as 19 as a trial one.
See if people abuse it.
oh yeah. that's
And
the
it's
state
actually
parks
a word.
pass. Yeah, I
We
never
talked about it
emailed,
last
I was supposed to email that to you. So, and that's just, yeah, if you just want to look over it, it's just for your information if you
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to add some
So,
stuff.
so do we need to integrate this into the
We didn't
circulation
want to
policy?
make a big deal about the state parks passes because some libraries are absolutely against carrying state parks passes. They say it's illegal to do because they're non-transferable.
Oh
So,
dear.
some libraries do it, some libraries don't. So we're just kind of going with the
Trying.
flow.
So
going with
we're
the
not
flow.
going to put it in the circulation policy?
I don't think we should. We should just kind
Just
of.
be aware of it, huh?
Just
Treat
be
it like
aware.
another thing that circulates.
Yeah, yeah. So, I don't know.
Okay.
Especially if it might go away.
Okay,
It
other-
might go
Price
away.
too much.
It might go
Okay,
away.
then other than to
So-
change the 499 to 1999, everything else in this should be done.
One quick question, because I haven't had time to read what you just passed out.
Okay.
And that is, do we circulate Kindles, and if so, where do we put that?
We do circulate Kindles. It's on that blue paper that I gave you on the digital device policy.
Yeah,
I
and that's different than the circulation policy.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that we kind of left this a little flowy, fluid.
Right.
Yeah, that was the word I
A
was
little
looking for.
jello.
Well, we said it, you referred to the. this-
Kindle device
this-
policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
This
can just say
card, so
refer
that you
to.
can, we can change that
Yeah, they're
without
just-
changing the policy.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And also, we have our patrons read and agree to the digital device policy before they're allowed to check out. So they're agreeing to that policy on a case-by-case basis.
Are your Kindles still being checked out quite a bit?
They circulate, I think they would circulate a lot better if we could continue to update them with titles. There's been kind of a hang-up with that with our accounts and stuff like that. So it just, I guess it will kind of be up to James where he wants to take that, because he could really make it go a lot further, or we could just kind of keep it as a general collection, how it is now.
and my next question is probably in the same category as my previous one. And I can't remember, the gizmos that you pick out and hang around your neck and hear a book,
Playaways.
playaways. Are playaways covered in
They're
one or the other
digital.
place? They circulate too.
They're just like any audio book.
Yeah.
And they check out for 3 weeks like an audio.
Okay, so that would
So
be
they're
like,
under the category of audiobook,
okay.
right?
Right,
As long as we got it covered somewhere, I'm just trying to make sure there's no gaps.
yeah.
And I will just bring up one thing. Some libraries have been doing away with overdue fines.
Yeah,
They've found that
fine-free libraries, yeah.
has been a big benefit. And they just, if it's not returned within a certain amount of time, then they have to pay to replace that book.
or that item, yeah.
So, you
They
know,
just
it's-
found that fines aren't really a motivating factor for people to
Not for
like
me.
return the books
From the
because
older generation.
they'll return it anyways
I
most of the
love that
time.
idea.
You like that
I
idea?
do. It was like that in Albuquerque, and I feel like I don't know. I wonder how, like, do people abuse it? I have no idea.
Well, this is something that we can.
I don't know,
look
Do a
but
into.
trial period.
like it's not
See if it
like
works.
that they're not. Like it's not that they're escaping like punishment or like escaping the responsibility of the checkout because they still have to pay for the item itself if they
Lose it.
if they don't return it in a certain amount of time, then they're just charged for that item instead of being charged for the.
Could I make a motion that we put that on the agenda for next month, that we look at that?
Well, that would be a change in our circulation
That
policy.
would be, yeah.
I have a question for the circulation policy too. The mayor mentioned to me that he's had people complain about renewing their library cards. That when they come in, when it shows up, they need to renew their library card, that
He talked to me about that too.
they have their license, but the license isn't good enough because maybe you don't live at the address anymore that's on there. So they want you to bring in some other
Utility
a
bill.
utility bill or something. But a utility bill wouldn't even work for everybody. I mean, I guess not a North Logan City utility bill, because if you live in an apartment complex, generally you're not receiving a North Logan City bill.
But like just
So-
I think it's just that has your address on it, right?
That
Like
would
it's not
be-
necessarily a
No,
North
right.
Logan.
Bill would do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But here's my question.
nobody gets the.
Is it worth making people upset? Like, how many people would really be abusing that to come here that have lived in North, like, what is it?
Well,
A couple of
and-
people a year? Is
Yeah,
it-
and it is upsetting because they want to renew or they're standing there wanting to check out a book and then you're asking them for some updated information, a utility bill, and they don't have it with them and they don't have anything. And so I always try to make it really easy for them to renew that, even if they bring something in at a later date. And I'll renew it for them right there on the spot. But some of our girls just don't. They want to live by the letter of the law and make it.
Well, like our policy states that you need to have a photo ID and a proof of address. That's what our policy. So we train the girls and
Yeah.
say like,
I
this
realize
is what
that.
you're asking for, and we tell them like, try and make it a good experience. And to your question, like, is it worth like the hassle? I think it is personally because this is a small town and we get a lot of people from outside that want a library card here because they see how awesome our library is and they don't have access to it. There's a lot of people in Hyde Park that are like, man, I wish I had a library card. Or there's a lot of people in Logan that
But if
say,
their driver's license has a
But-
Hyde Park address or a Logan address, I mean, they would have had to live in North Logan.
But
In
it's
the
every
last
5
4
years.
years.
It's every 5 years you
It
renew
isn't.
your license.
Every 6.
Or 3, whatever it is.
Right.
or
And by the way, we're not as nasty as the Logan one. They check your registration for poll tax to see if you still justify. I lost mine that way.
But maybe we differentiate between renewals and like new cards. Like, so
Yeah.
have the higher level for new cards,
Yeah.
but renewals, you just kind of
Yeah,
assume.
renewal should
I
be.
guess that's
Well,
what I'm saying. I just
and
wonder
when I
if
was
it's worth the
talking to
hassle.
when I was talking to the mayor and Alan, even Chief Hawk said, you know, if they don't have any form of ID, call up to city offices, ask them if they live at this address, and because they have all the city residents.
So he did talk about that, but that would not work if you live in an apartment complex because they would just have on file
The owner of
the
the
billing
complex.
for
Oh,
the owner
yeah,
of the
yeah.
apartment complex. Because I talked to Mayor about that, so that would.
Well,
But they
like,
pay their
really,
utilities too.
there hasn't been that
They
many
would pay it to their
complaints.
apartment.
Oh, that's
Their
right.
cell
would
phone,
pay
their
it to their
cell
phone.
phone, everybody has a
So
cell
I
phone.
totally think that to get a library card, that you would want to establish residency and, you know, have people bring in. I mean, that's pretty standard across the board, but you'd be prepared to do that. I'm coming in to get something new. I think this happens when somebody comes in, they want to check out a book, and somebody says, oh, hey, your card's expired. You're going to have to renew your card before I can check this out to you. And of course you haven't brought a utility bill with you because you don't usually
Yeah.
carry
So
those
pack
around.
those
in your
around,
pocket.
yeah.
Well, actually, we email patrons that their card is expiring, and it says in the email, hey, your card's expiring, we wanted to let you know, could you, when you come in, please bring a photo ID and a proof of address. Our system's set up to automatically let people know that, I mean, like, if they don't have
I
an
mean,
email.
let's face
but-
it, sometimes things in life are a little bit of a hassle, and people get upset when it's a hassle.
They do.
What is
So I
that
guess-
volume
No,
of
it's just
complaints? Do you have a sense of that?
I don't know. He
I
said-
really-
But my question is the hassle, which I think is a public relations negative, is that worth the outcome that you make sure that everybody who has a card is really a North Logan resident? Is that important? I guess that's what you have to establish. Is it really important at every renewal that you're determining that? I know one time I tried to come check out a book and I had left my card at home, and
I remember this time.
the girl who was checking the book out to me has known me since she was like 9. And she would not check it out to me. She knew where I lived, she knew where my house was, and would absolutely, because that was the rule. And I mean, that's good. I mean, it's good. But I'm just saying, I love us to be rational about stuff. Like, let's, you know, if I happen to know where you live and I know that you have a card and I can look it up and I know you still live at your address,
Well,
then that's great.
I don't know about the new policy, but the old policy had card or driver's or photo ID, because either one would figure the book out.
That should be how it is.
That's what was in the old policy.
No, that is the policy. If you have your library card or a photo ID, then you can check out
Yeah.
a book.
Or if you
Or-
babysit them.
If you,
Well, right. I mean, that's essentially
Well,
where we were.
You raised the
So-
person.
Or if you have your driver's
So how did you drive here without your driver's
Oh,
license?
I'm good getting in my car.
yeah, so,
But I guess I'm just saying, I understand, it's important to make sure that our library is servicing the people who live in our community. That's important.
Right.
and
Right, we pay
really
for
we
it.
try to make it as hassle-free as possible.
But I think when you're looking at a fine-free library, it's the same issue as the renewal. It's the hassle and the frustration. Is that worth what your outcome is? And I mean, I guess I don't think I could say yes or no either way today.
Yeah, and it's a
But I
good
just think
question
it's a
that
good
you would
question.
know probably
It's
the
a good
most of
question.
any of us, other than maybe the complaints don't come directly to you, but I'm curious how frequent that is. Like, how frequent is it that people are coming in and they're having a hard time renewing? That's, I think, the biggest
I
question.
really, like, Judy and I work the desk almost most of the week, and the other times during the week, people refer to us when there are issues, when there are complaints and things like that, because, I mean, Judy's in charge, so she receives
I
it.
don't,
And so there
like-
really isn't that many complaints. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, okay, like,
I
that's a little
I
bit
really
of a
want
hassle,
everyone
like,
that
it's
comes
not
into the
that
library to have a
easy.
positive experience.
Right,
if
and that's
there's-
our mantra, is like,
if
make sure
there's
they
an
have a good
issue, I
experience.
make it happen for them, whatever it is.
And a lot of times we'll say like, okay, like, could you please bring it in next time and stuff like that. And like, we do have a lot of new staff that like, they might not feel comfortable saying that because they've just been taught the policy, and so, I mean, that's on us. We can let them know like, hey, like, if they don't have it, that's okay. You can let them bring it in the next time so that it's not as much of a hassle and things like that. But like, overall complaints, I would say that there's very
Well,
few.
If they're brand new, coming in for a card very first time, I think it's necessary they have everything.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
And question, so for proof of
But
residency, would
If I've
have,
got an old card, you know,
Right.
and you know, you've known me since I was 9.
Well, there's that case, but then there's also the case of I live in an apartment, I have an old card, I really moved up to campus because I'm a student and I move around every 6 months.
Right.
But I still want to use the library because it's awesome, you know?
Yeah, but is that gonna hurt anything?
See, and I don't see if they have a permanent address, their parents' address.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with
Yeah.
them having a library card.
Well, they like have an apartment address, not like a permanent address.
Yeah,
Or,
but
like-
my son lives at USU, but he still lives at my address.
At the
That's
Bills
where all
land
his
there.
mails comes, that's where he, you know.
And a lot of
that's-
people do that.
Yeah.
You know,
billing
it's like,
address.
But like, we
I
have
want everybody
apartments
in the
North
world to
Logan,
have a
too.
library card.
that aren't
Well, since their bills
students or
can be
like
done,
they
yeah.
still get money.
But you
think
know,
that's the
anytime you
population
can do
you're
a
talking about, is
positive
the non-student
experience,
apartments.
And it sounds like you're trying.
anytime
to.
you do a
Sounds like-
positive
Yeah.
experience, whether they live here or in Liston, Utah, you know, I mean, they used to live here, now they live up in Liston, they still have a card, they're coming in. They're gonna tell people about what a great library this is and why they're still pledging to get in here, but, you know.
And then when it expires, then maybe
Yeah.
they'll purchase our non-resident library card
Right.
for $90.
They'll try to renew it and not tell you they moved.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, we
That's
do
what-
get.
Right.
I think that's what you're trying to avoid, but I guess, I don't know, I'm just asking, is that important? Like, I guess that's the question, is
We
how-
make a
how
fair
you-
amount of money with selling
Okay, so
non-resident
we have a
cards.
I
question
think
on
you
the
just make
fines
sure
then.
that like the staff knows
Yeah.
that let's not be treat them
Okay.
like criminals.
This is my suggestion. I suggest that we pass this circulation policy with the changes that she's mentioned.
Yeah, please look.
And then,
So are you
I
making a
see.
motion or are you making a suggestion?
I'm suggesting someone make a motion. And this is what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that in the next month, we look into doing away with the fines, and then maybe doing that for a trial period, and then
See what the
redo the
response is.
circulation policy at that time, after the trial period, to see if it has been a benefit. Okay.
I second that. I make a motion that we do that.
What she said.
Okay,
I think
so that's
that's
really two things. That's
I think that's
passing the
exciting.
circulation
Yeah,
policy.
That would be so cool, because I have fun. Yeah.
Okay, so who wants to second her motion to approve the circulation policy with those minor changes? Okay, and
That's
then
exciting.
who wants to motion that we look into removing the fines?
I
I'll
will.
make that motion with the consideration we figure out how we measure the data in advance.
Right?
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
Also.
Say that again, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Measure the
I
data.
move that we do a test case of not having fines, but before we begin, we decide how we're going to measure the data to decide if it was a good idea or a bad idea.
So let's look into the next month.
Okay, let's.
This
for-
is the motion.
For my purposes, let's make these two separate motions.
They are.
But they are.
They are.
Okay, did we
We-
vote? Did we
Oh,
vote?
we
or
didn't
did
vote.
just make a-
I'm sorry. All approve of accepting these circulation policies?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passed. Okay, new motion.
I move that we have a test period of no fines, but that we decide in advance how we will measure if it's successful.
Okay, so we'll start the test period like next month.
You know, in this page.
After looking
they
at
always
it.
have that.
After
They
you
have
Okay.
lots of detail.
I second that.
So,
And so
What,
How do you envision that?
we've always
People
got-
stick their thing in a box.
Oh.
So we do.
Look at it for
Don't
months and months
necessarily
and
know.
decide.
what
if
we
it's
can do
successful.
is,
You know,
I know that,
I would-
we can look into what type of reports our system can track, but I know that we can do an overall report of the fines we collect in an amount of time. And so we can look at, I mean, Paul would probably know more about which reports specifically, but we'll try and run reports to see how many fines we've been collecting the last however long we can get away
It would
with
probably,
pulling that
in that data
information.
set, need to include fines plus books purchased. plus
That's
books
the
purchased,
hang
and
up,
government. 'Cause
that
if
I
it's
don't
it's
know
fi-
if
If it's no
we
fines, it would be
have-
having to pay for the books, in
Right.
which case we'd have to have that value versus this value.
Right, that's what we need to look into, is if we can do a report that shows fines versus books versus processing fees versus copies or
right.
whatever.
But maybe it's not even just fines, maybe you're also looking at, and I don't know if you can you track how overdue things have been? And
Yeah, do
And
people
what's-
still bring them back
and do
without
they
the
still bring it
fines?
back, how long is the
Yeah,
return
That
date?
21 day.
If it's not 21 days, are they returning them in 30 or 40 days or what?
so let me,
So maybe we don't need to pass a motion at all. We can just
Right, the laws
revisit
and
this next month with some more data.
Yeah.
that would be good.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
with,
Yeah, so at 21 days overdue.
So let's
laws.
revisit that issue next month and,
And then we
with
have
some
one
more
more
data.
policy.
And I guess one other question you'd have then, if you're doing a no fine thing, what happens to everybody who currently has fines?
Yeah, do you
Are
waive
those
those?
are those immediately waived, so you can erase your books the day you start that and move forward with a clean
Yeah.
slate?
Send them a thank you card so they know that they've been forgiven. Maybe they'll come
Well,
back.
a lot of times, what we've done is that, like, we've seen something that's been checked out for a really long time, and we'll contact them and just be like, hey, please bring it back, like, we'll work with you on the fines, you know, so that, we mostly want our stuff back, right? And a lot of times people are like, okay, like if you give me a discount or like if you'll help me out, then yeah, I'll bring your books back, sort of thing.
Rather than never coming to the library.
Yeah, but like being ashamed and like I'm just gonna hold on to these. I don't want to see
Do
you.
they ever admit, yeah, I lost that at the beach?
Oh well, yeah, we have people like admit stuff, and like I've had someone bring in something. They're like, I have had this sitting in my basement for like 2 years and haven't returned it because like I didn't like I was
They
ashamed.
don't want the
They
fines.
don't want the
I had a
fines.
friend once get pulled over for a speeding ticket, and then the officer found there was an outstanding warrant for her because of a library book that she had forgotten to bring back. She was an upstanding, law-abiding citizen, and
But
she
not.
has this warrant from like 10 years previous or
Oh
something.
my gosh.
Anyway, that was a big fat mess, so let's avoid that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll revisit that next month.
That would be
Okay, and you
good.
have,
Right?
we have one more
Well,
policy.
right,
Okay, really quick, one more policy.
When the lady was here from the state library, we found out that we have to have a strategic plan in by April of this year.
Oh, yeah.
And that includes the mission statement, which we already haven't approved. You want to pass these around? Okay, it includes the mission statement. So we've got one part of it done already. It also includes, can include an introduction in history, existing technology, goals and timeline, budget, training for staff, and evaluation. I know. And I said, this is really unfair because I think this is something James needs to help. I mean, we've got a lot of this already done. You know, the technology, we've got a
technology
You've
plan.
got a technology plan. We don't have a goal and timeline. I don't know, you know, what our goal is to be to work every day and keep the library open, I guess, but.
So at our last city council meeting, we talked, and I don't know if we came to a conclusion, but we did talk about seeing if James is willing to spend a few hours a week, try to help us, like, since we're accommodating him on the arrival date, if we can, I mean, it sounds like he needs to talk to you
Yes.
guys, and it sounds like we need to work on this, and there are definitely some budget things, like by the time he gets here, we will have to approve a budget just weeks later. And so I think we were wondering if maybe we can get him involved. So maybe we can email this to him and see if he wants to help.
Yeah, just and frame it in a way that you're saying we want your input, not like
Come out for a
start your job
weekend,
already.
just a quick
No,
visit. Or
and I think we talked about different ways of
You know,
approaching him
Yeah,
on,
well, like if he has
how
a
we work
if he has
this
a
out.
goal in mind for this library, you know, of what he'd like to see, that would be important to put into this,
Right.
you know.
so maybe I'll follow up with Alan or with the mayor and see if we actually officially decided how we were going to approach that, and then I'll let you know.
Do we have
Alice.
flexible funds where we could fly him out?
That's what
for a
I'm
week?
thinking, yeah. Can he just come for a couple, 2 or 3 days,
got
and meet
an
with
extra
all these different
bedroom.
entities? Come up with
So
some
I think
plan?
even just phone calls are fine, like or
I
FaceTimes
even
or
thought, I mean, you could
whatever.
even FaceTime and walk
Yeah,
him through the
that's what I was
library and
thinking.
introduce him to everybody. I don't know that he has to physically come here, but
I
I
agree.
think
It'd
there
be nice
are,
if
Or Skype,
possible,
right?
though.
That's what we did before.
I mean, I'm sure it would be nice to have him here, but
I don't need it
but I
here.
don't know if I have to
It
do
with
that.
Yeah.
FaceTime.
On
We did
FaceTime.
FaceTime.
So has he been up here?
No. Well, he went to school
Went to
here.
Utah State.
He's familiar with the Valley Bay.
Yeah, and his
But
good
no, we haven't
friend is
actually physically.
a member of our city council.
He what?
He has a good friend on the that is a member of our
So
city
like we know
council.
he exists.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, if you guys would kind of look over this, it can be just pretty, I think we'll have to do a pretty vague one to send into the state for this time, you know, and then work on it.
Right, because
Right.
time is of the essence.
So let's formulate one next
Yeah,
meeting in March.
if possibly, you could be looking at it, putting ideas together, what you think, you know, and then we'll slap it together and fax it down.
And
try and
hopefully
get with
between now
James.
and then, we can talk with James and see what he's thinking.
See, and I had it in my head, we had a year to get that one ready, and then I said, no, it's
No,
just
it's
April.
April. Yes, it's April. Okay, we're done with our meeting. So we adjourn and move to the closed session.
Great. See you, Lindsay.
See you.